Welcome to the Hot Corner Show on the ISPS Radio Podcast Network with your host, Dr. Ray, the softball-playing chiropractor and the official chiropractor of ISPS, and Manuel T. Ferrero III, the commissioner of International Slow Pitch Softball. Listen to the Hot Corner Show every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the ISPS Radio Podcast channel. Call the show at 347-637-3978 and talk sports and health topics with Dr. Ray, plus slow pitch softball from around the world with Manuel T. Ferrero III, fantasy sports, special guests, and more. Call the show now on the special guest call-in hotline at 347-637-3978. Now, bring your A game, because you're about to experience the Hot Corner.
Hello, everybody. How we doing here tonight? It's Wednesday night. It's time for hashtag The Hot Corner with your host at Dr. Ray T. That's me, Dr. Ray Tomos, the softball-playing chiropractor as dubbed by Softball Magazine, who should have a new issue coming out actually in the next couple of weeks here. We just finished getting all of our information over to Softball Magazine. We want to give a shout out to them always for supporting ISPS and the Hot Corner Health Tips. So look out for that coming up soon in magazine stands. And we want to let you know about everything we have going on here on the show tonight. We got a lot going on. We have a very interesting health topic about fatigue. It's actually the number one reason people go to see the doctor. So definitely a lot of people that this may be affecting out there. So listen in for the health topic tonight. We're going to get to that a little bit earlier. We're going to lead off the show with fantasy sports. We're going to be talking about baseball, and we're also going to be looking for listeners to sign up for the Hot Corner Fantasy Football Listener League. So go ahead, and if you guys want to play some fantasy football, get ready to join in tonight. We're going to have our ISPS event section with Manuel T. Ferrero III, and we're going to also have a special guest on tonight for all you Dolphins out there. DWORK from CBS Miami, who's a lead sports writer, is going to be with us here tonight on the show talking about a little bit of NFL preview, a little bit about what we got going on here with the Dolphins, and give us some behind-the-scenes look. So get your questions ready for the Dolphins. We've already got some questions set up for David, but go ahead and give us a call tonight. The area code to call in is 347. The number is 637-3978. Again, that's 347-637-3978. And don't forget, you can also get to us on social media. You can tweet us a question, use hashtag The Hot Corner, or at ISPSO, or at Dr. Ray T. That's DRRAYT. And we'll go ahead and try to get your questions live on the air here. So without any further ado, I'd like to go ahead and introduce my co-host, the man that makes it all possible, the lion who made a lion, Mr. Manuel T. Ferrero III. How are you, sir?
Yes, sir. And I also want to give a shout out to everybody watching us on Periscope. What's up, everybody? What's up, Dr. Ray, man? How is everything over there in Dr. Ray land?
Man, everything is going great, my friend. No complaints. Feeling good. Got a couple of events set up in the next couple weeks that I'm really excited about as well, too. Yeah, man, it's going to be great. We got this weekend, actually, for you guys here in Miami. I want to let you guys know there's going to be a huge 30% off sale at GNC, and we're actually going to be doing some free stress screenings over there as well, too. So we're going to be there this weekend at GNC, looking to see if we can help people, help them find the nutrition that they need, and also you can take advantage of a great sale over there. We're going to be at the GNC in West Kendall. So go ahead and look out for that. And then again, in September, we got an event that we just talked about setting up, and we're going to change it up on the show a little bit here. We're actually going to do a live broadcast from Periscope, and we're going to let you guys know all about that as we get in. But, man, there's tons of stuff going on, and I'm super excited about it, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. Just setting up for this tournament this Saturday in Kendall Indian Hammocks, the Hit My Stick. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But other than that, man, just keeping busy, man. Keeping busy. some people out there in the softball world have no idea what it takes to run one tournament, let alone a whole association, man. I got to deal with people all over the world, and some people, they don't understand that, and they sometimes get upset with me. They get upset with me because I can't give them my full attention.
No, I understand how that is. Trust me, people come in the office and they see me, and they don't realize all the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, all the inventory and all the orders and the hiring and getting the staff and setting up the events and the marketing and balancing the budget. And oh man, so I understand. You see, as a player, you go to a tournament and you're just like, oh well, okay, well it's a tournament, but you really take it for granted, all the things that happen to make that tournament happen. So I'm with you, man. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, but man, that's life, baby. We got that stress. That's why we got to be as healthy as we can be, so that we can handle that stress and we can still make it happen.
And not have fatigue.
Exactly, and not have fatigue. That's the most important thing.
Yes, sir, Dr. Ray. Well, man, I'm actually very excited today, man, to bring along David DWORK from CBS Miami, the lead sports writer for CBS Miami, and I was looking on his blog here on CBS Miami. Dude, the guy has the top 30 NFL fantasy football quarterbacks for 2015. Maybe we could use some of that to talk about when we talk about fantasy football, man. What do you think about that? That's a pretty good little cheat sheet to have when it come around draft time.
Definitely. That's what it's all about. Here's the thing is that, when you go online, there's tons of experts. You could just name a bunch of them off the top of your head. Dalton Del Don, Chris List, all these guys out there, Andy Behrens. They're all out there, and they all have their own opinions. And what's great about it is that this is just speculation. There is no one that can predict the future, but there are a lot of stats and sabermetrics and a lot of things that these guys have the ability to get and to look at, and they formulate a little bit more better educated opinions, about what's going on. So, it's good to have different resources. It's good to know about what's going on. I myself have a fantasy draft a little bit later tonight. We have a real early draft, and it's that league that I have. It's that one league that I have that I've never been able to crack. I never even make the playoffs in this league. And it's with a bunch of my buddies from chiropractic school. So this year I'm motivated. So as soon as we finish this show, I'm going to be studying for a straight hour before this draft comes on. And I'm going to be going through stats, through lineups, through handcuffs, through everything. And I'm going to try to give it my best. I've got a couple keepers and a couple different things going on. But anyway, maybe we'll talk to David about that as well too, and see what kind of strategy he thinks may be better for fantasy this year. Who knows if he's a big fantasy guy or not. Some of these sports writers, they don't like fantasy. Some of them do. So we'll see what David's opinion is on it. But either way, I'm definitely excited to have him on here, and, possibly for future segments as well, too, for all the Dolph fans out there that want to know what's going on behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. These guys, maybe we can get some breaking news here on the Hot Corner. That would be pretty cool right there. But anyway, man, we got a lot to get to here tonight. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to take a quick break. But right when we get back, we're actually going to be talking about fantasy baseball, previewing a little bit of fantasy football. And we're, again, going to be looking for players for the Fantasy Football Listener League. So if you guys are interested, get your phones ready, 347-637-3978. And give us a call if you want to get in for football. But hang on, we'll be right back right after this quick break.
Frontier Spine and Healthcare brings you the cutting edge in healthcare with all the newest research and techniques in natural medicine. Although many people share the same symptoms, they all have them for different reasons. Using thorough physical examination and the newest technology in diagnostic testing, we can truly discover why you have the symptoms you do. Remember that good doctors know what you have, but great doctors know why. Call 786-353-HEAL or click www.353heal.com to schedule your appointment and experience the future of medicine today. Predictive, preventive, and personalized. Frontier Spine and Healthcare. Area code 786-353-HEAL or www.353heal.com.
All right. We are back. We're ready to rock and roll here. It's fantasy baseball time. All right, so we are in the dog days of summer right now when we're talking fantasy baseball. I can't tell you how many people are telling me, man, I'm getting tired of fantasy baseball. But this is when you win the league, my friends. So pay attention, batten down the hatches. It's time to go. It's ready to make this thing rock and roll. It's ready to get into the playoffs time. Now, in our fantasy baseball listener league here on the Hot Corner, we actually already have 4 out of the 6 playoff spots here already clinched. So we've got a lot going on here in the league. We've got some players that are fighting for the last 2 spots. We've actually got 3 teams that are in contention for it. A 4th maybe. That's Shelly. I know Shelly's listening. Shelly may be able to make the playoffs if he goes on a streak and he wins out here. But right now it looks like it's going to be between Jose's team, Albert's team, or Gabe's team. And these guys right here are all sitting at 7-10. And everybody above them is already locked in. So we've got 2 teams at 15-2. That's myself and Brandon. And we're actually playing each other this week, and it's a pretty close one right now. We're actually 141. He's at 168. So he's got some points already on me, and he's the high scorer of the league. He's got everybody beat by 700 points. So he's really dominating and making things happen there. Manny's coming in 3rd place at 12-5, already locked into a playoff spot. And then we've got Maiden Dave Rohn's team. He's 10-7 right now, but he's already locked into the playoffs. And, again, it's great to win the league and the regular season, but none of that really matters. It's all about the playoffs. And I can't tell you how many times I've made the playoffs as a 6th seed and won the league, so it's all about just getting in. So we've got a tight race coming here for 5, 6, and 7. There's been a lot of injuries as of late. A lot of guys coming back off some injuries, so I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. Hisashi Iwakuma actually threw a no-hitter today, the 4th one of the season, so he joins Max Scherzer, Chris Heston, and Cole Hamels as the four pitchers to throw a no-hitter this year. And actually, this is the first no-hitter in the American League since Felix Hernandez of the Seattle Mariners did it in 2012. So the last 2 no-hitters in the American League have both been by the Seattle Mariners. 2012 was the last time by Felix Hernandez and Hisashi Iwakuma today. And, Manny, I don't know what it is, man, but have you noticed that the pitching is just dominant? I mean, it's like almost every other day there's a guy that's got a perfect game going into the 7th inning or a guy that's got a no-hitter into the 8th. And how many pitchers have blown a no-hitter or a perfect game this year in like the 8th and the 9th inning? I mean, every other day you're starting to see this stuff. Is it just me or are you seeing this too?
No, I totally see it as well. But I also think that has something to do with the decline in popularity of baseball, man. All these low-scoring games, tight games, not a lot of run scoring. Everybody wants to see those home runs. Everybody wants to see, like right now, I'm watching the Marlins here, 14-6 against Boston, man. They started at 4:00 this afternoon today. That's what people want to see. They don't want to really see a 0-1 game. At least I don't. And I think that has a little bit to do with the popularity of baseball declining.
Oh man, well I'll tell you what, that's more of a football score than a baseball score there, but there's days, man, where that offense gets going. I mean, right now I'm watching Arizona and the Phillies, and they got the closer on the mound trying to close it out at 7-6. So I mean, there's been a lot of runs, and I might have to look up these stats really quick, but I know there's been less home runs overall. But I think that there's still, the runs and the way that the teams have to manufacture runs now. I think for the purists and the people that like the game, this is really what it's about. For me, I like watching the games, calling the pitches. I like watching the defensive shifts. I like watching the double switches. I like the strategy. For me, that's what it's about in baseball. Baseball is not the most exciting game to watch. I mean, if you're going to watch a baseball game just strictly to see a home run, I mean, to me, that's not worth it. How long does it take for a home run to happen? You know, I mean, it's a split second. You know, but I personally,
but yo, that's the most exciting part of the game, Dr. Ray. A home run. What about right now? They just hit a grand slam. Real Muto just hit a grand slam.
No, of course. I mean, listen, I'm with you. Okay, I understand. I know the home run is exciting. A triple play is exciting.
When was baseball at its all-time high? Wasn't it when McGuire and Sosa were going again? At it. They were trying to hit, go crazy and hit like 70 home runs, like if it's nothing. And
it sure was, man. That was it. And Barry Bonds and all that. But you know what,
and steroids and cork bats.
So were those good for the game in your opinion? Do you think cork bats? Do you think steroids? Do you think all that was good?
No, I don't think. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the popularity declining in baseball, and I think that has something to do with it. And Major League Baseball has to look at it. Maybe redesign the ball, make it. I don't know. Maybe move the mound. I don't know. But
I mean, when you look at what's been going on, there's been multiple major league teams that have brought the fences in. They did it in Seattle. They did it in Citi Field. So, I think that they realize this. And I think that one of the great things that they're doing now also is, maybe and possibly this is something that's already in play now in the minor leagues is the pitch clock. I think that's a great thing for baseball right now. Because what's the biggest complaint? It's about
pace of play.
It's about the pace of play, the speed of the game. It's about people just saying, "Oh man, it's boring." Guy pitches and then they show the crowd and then they talk about who knows what the announcers are talking about. Depending on who you're listening to, you may get a life story. What's the guy out in LA? The guy's been there for like 60 years. He'll tell you everybody's not autobiography, but their biography, right as they're hitting. So I mean, it just depends who you're listening to, and for me, that's the fun of the game too, listening to the announcers, and you always hear the crazy stats, and the crack staff is always finding out like, oh, this guy did this the last time on a Tuesday on every other third day of the week, and all kinds of crazy stats. But that's the great part about this. I mean, think about how many baseball games have been played in the history of the world, and think about the way that all these stats add up. I mean, that's cool stuff, man. But I'm just a purist. I love the game. I love those things. I would like to see a little bit more action too. I'd like to see faster pitches. I'd like to see more, I think that will lead to more hitting. I think it'll lead to more base runners. I think it'll lead to more exciting plays overall. But I think that that's an awesome thing that they're doing now. And you're right, Manny. I think that Major League Baseball is seeing that pace of play and, people not being interested in what's going on is definitely something that they're doing to try to get the popularity back up. And I really love that they're doing all these programs and that they're targeting kids in the inner cities and everything as well too. But I mean, what's more beautiful than seeing a double play get turned like silk, like my old coach used to call it? I mean, one guy comes and flips it behind his back after making a half of a diving catch, and I mean, that's what it's all about, man. And this happens more and more often all the time.
Congratulations to the Miami Marlins. They just beat the Boston Red Sox 14-6. Right here in Miami. Go Fish!
Yes, sir. There we go. And hopefully the Dolphins will go ahead and win by at least eight points as well too when we start getting into the season here coming up. And we're going to be talking to David DWORK a little bit later about that as well too. But for you guys listening out there, if you've got any questions about the Dolphins, go ahead and get them ready because we're going to have David on in just a couple minutes. Before we do, I want to talk a little bit about our fantasy football league. I want to go ahead and let you guys know we've got a couple people already signed up. We had a 10-team league last year, and we're looking to expand it to 12, heck, even 14 maybe. But if you're listening to the show, if you want to get in on the fantasy football league, if you think you got what it takes, go ahead and let us know. Send us your email, text us, tweet us, whatever it is that you need. If you want to call into the show and let us know that you want to be in the league, and if you think you can win, tell us what your strategy is. If you think you got what it takes to beat Manuel T. Ferrero III and Dr. Ray, give us a call. Let us. No, you don't think? What do you think, Manny? Are we going to tie in first, and that's what's going to happen, or should we set it up that way? Or what do you think?
No, you know what? I'm waiting to be like one of the last people to sign up, man, because I don't want to be paired up with Dr. Ray again for like the third or fourth consecutive season of fantasy sports, man. It's always you and me in the first week. I don't like that. I want to play somebody else.
Hey, you know what, man? I respect that. That's all right. Last year I got third place. I didn't win the league. If you remember, we actually had a female win the league last year.
That's right. I remember now.
Yep. So we had a female in the league, and we've got 4 teams already that have joined again. Myself, we've got Combo in there. We've got Ian from Mortal Kombat. We've got the Renegade Hans, who thought he was going to win the league but ended up losing to the girl.
The Jamaican sensation.
Hey, the Jamaican sensation. But we're not going to say anything about that, even though we already did. And then we've got Manny ready to go. Shelly, I know Shelly's going to join in. Tony asked me about it earlier today, so it looks like we've got some guys going. We got Fisher getting ready to go. And then, of course, maybe our champion. Hopefully she'll return to defend her title, and we'll see what we get this year. But, man, I'm really looking forward to fantasy this year. I feel like over the years, people are always saying, oh, you know what, it's going to be a little different this year. This year, running backs aren't as important. This year, there's so many receivers. This year, don't worry about taking a quarterback. But then you get into the drafts, and what happens? I mean, it's crazy. It's like running backs go. At the end of the second round, there's no running backs left. Aaron Rodgers, the big quarterbacks are pretty much gone off the board. Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. Those guys are gone. This year, Tom Brady may not be included in that bunch because of, obviously the suspension there. They've got all the hearings and all that stuff going on right now. But it's just kind of a crazy thing. But this year, with such a high amount of talent at the wide receiver position, Manny, are you thinking about taking any wide receivers early, or are you thinking about just waiting on these receivers?
No, I'm going to wait on the receivers, man. I got my strategy, and I'm not talking about it again on live air, Dr. Ray. What are you thinking of life, brother? I'll let you know. I'm not going wide receiver in the first couple of rounds.
That's all, and that's all you're going to say about it, right?
Are we going to do? Yeah, we're going to do the first couple of rounds or the first round live on the air, right?
Yes, sir. Of course. We always do. We're going to talk about draft picks. We're going to talk about reaches. We're going to talk about all that. So as soon as we get our teams lined up, we'll set a draft date, and it will be on one of the following Wednesdays coming up to the season. So it'll probably be hopefully the last Wednesday before the season. But we need to get these teams in here so we can get that going. So, again, if you guys are listening, go ahead and give us a call. The number is 347-637-3978. You can also tweet us at Dr. Ray T or at ISPSO, and just let us know that you want to be in the Hot Corner Fantasy Football League, and we'll go ahead and we'll get you going there. So go ahead and let us know again. And, Manny, I think we need to go ahead and get to the ISPS events section here because, man, we're running out of time. It's already, man, how do we do it all in 1 hour, Manny? I don't even know. But let's go ahead and let's get to the upcoming major ISPS events quickly, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll go into the health topic for the night for a moment, and then we'll finish up the show talking about current events, and of course with David DWORK from CBS Miami. So, Manny, go ahead and take it away and give us some of the major ISPS events coming up.
Thank you, Dr. Ray. Thank you. And like I said at the beginning of our show, this Saturday, in Kendall Indian Hammocks, we're going to be hosting the Super Z Hit My Stick powered by Louisville Slugger. I want to give a thanks, and I gave them a shout out on Twitter the other day. Thank you to Dennis Turner and Louisville Slugger over there in Louisville, Kentucky, for sending over the bats. They're beautiful, beautiful bats. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody out there swinging them at Kendall Indian Hammocks. The following weekend, we have a couple of tournaments. We have one at Mills Pond upper and lower for men's. And also we have a Midnight Madness that is sponsored by Cliff Bar Energy Bars. Check them out. And last tournament of this month will be at Treaty Park in St. Augustine, Dr. Ray. Dr. Ray, have you ever been to St. Augustine?
As a matter of fact, I've only passed through it. It does seem like it's a city that has a lot of history, though. I think it's the oldest city in Florida, isn't it?
In the United States of America, brother. It was the first, I believe, first incorporated city in the United States, man. And it's really small town. You could walk it pretty much, you know, the major areas that you need to go to. You could walk it in a day, no problem. But I suggest you go and check out that city, man. It's a really beautiful, beautiful city. And if you're in town on August 29th, go to Treaty Park, and we're hosting a ISPS men's tournament there in St. Augustine, Florida. And that's pretty much it, Dr. Ray. I'm just going to go over the August events and move it right along because we're pretty short on time, man. You talk a lot.
Man, my bad. Well, let's get to a break and let's go ahead and talk about the health topic then.
All right, brother. We'll be right back right after this short break.
Listen to the Hot Corner Show every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the ISPS Radio Podcast channel. Call the show at 347-637-3978 and talk sports and health topics with Dr. Ray. Plus, slow-pitch softball from around the world with Manuel T. Ferrero III, fantasy sports, special guests, and more. Call the show now on the special guest call-in hotline at 347-637-3978. Now, bring your A game, because you're about to experience the Hot Corner.
All right, and we are back in. Thank you very much for that round of applause, and let's go ahead and get into the health topic of the night here tonight. And again, we're talking about the number one reason that people visit the doctor in the United States. And if you didn't know already, because we've said it a couple times here on the show tonight, that is fatigue. So fatigue is something that, if you guys don't know what fatigue is, it just basically means being tired all the time. So why would you be tired all of the time? You know, sometimes you don't really realize exactly how tired you are. So one of the things that I like to do is I like to kind of go over the criteria for actually diagnosing fatigue syndrome, chronic fatigue syndrome, and chronic fatigue. And people are kind of startled by this because, you know, I can't tell you how many times I ask people, hey, how you doing? And they tell me, oh, I'm tired. You know, everybody else kind of just is tired. You know, I'm tired. You know, so what are some things that, you know, how do we differentiate just being tired? And how do we differentiate actually having a problem? All right, so one of the things that comes along, and chronic fatigue syndrome is a little bit different than just being tired all the time and having this fatigue. And chronic fatigue syndrome is differentiated, and that's an actual completely different issue than just being tired. But if you're always tired, okay, eventually chronic fatigue syndrome may set in, because a lot of the reasons why we're tired are the same reasons why we have chronic fatigue syndrome. So the diagnostic criteria for chronic fatigue syndrome, and if you guys have any questions about what's going on today, you can always check out the blog on my website, 353heal.com. Just click on Dr. Ray's blog, and you'll see a post about chronic fatigue syndrome, and all this information is in there. I actually wrote this blog as a guest blog for the FIU Life Well Led movement that's going on here, and the Life Well Led movement is basically a blog. It's kind of like a cohort of blogs that are put together from different specialists and about different topics concerning health and ways to stay healthy naturally and so on and so forth. So check out the Life Well Led blog. I definitely suggest that. If you guys just Google Life Well Led FIU, it'll come right up and you'll be able to see it. And Monique is doing a great job putting all that together. But this criteria here for diagnosing chronic fatigue syndrome is actually, again, more prevalent than most people think. So you have to have these this fatigue for more than 6 months, and then at least 4 of these things going on. Okay, so not all of them, but at least 4 of them. All right, so if you work out and you feel tired afterward, all right, or if you go up the stairs and you feel super tired or whatever the case is, and you work and let's say you go and you garden for a few hours and then you're tired and it lasts for more than a day, right? So if you work out and you're tired for more than a day, and this is called post-exertional malaise, all right, this is one of the criteria. Unrefreshing sleep. So if you go to sleep and you wake up and you still feel like, damn, I can't get out of bed, I need to go back to sleep. That's unrefreshing sleep. Headaches, joint pain, muscle pain, tender lymph nodes. Lymph nodes are those glands on the side of your neck. They can be in the groin area. They can be right underneath your jaw. They can be on the back, on the base of your skull, on the back there. Those are all areas where you have lymph nodes in your armpits and in your axilla. These are areas where we have lymph nodes. If those are tender, that's another criteria. And then subjective memory impairment. So if you forget things easily, if you have tender glands, swollen glands, muscle pain, joint pain, headaches, unrefreshing sleep, or post-exertional malaise, these are all criteria that would be feasible to diagnose you for chronic fatigue syndrome. So there is actually millions of people that have chronic fatigue syndrome, and many of them are actually unaware with it. But there are a lot of contributing factors to it, and there is no medication for chronic fatigue syndrome. And the reason is because it's a multifactorial issue. Basically, what that means is that there is not one reason why you have chronic fatigue syndrome. There are multiple reasons why you have chronic fatigue syndrome. And this is one of the things that we like to look at as natural healthcare providers in my office. So one of the biggest things that I've seen contributing to chronic fatigue syndrome is actually immune system issues. So the immune system is what controls your body's, basically your body's defenses. Anytime there's bacteria or viruses or whatever the case is in the area, your immune system is what helps defend you from that. So, for example, to give you an idea of how important your immune system is, people who have AIDS, for example, which is a very well-known disease, they end up dying not of AIDS, but they end up dying of a regular cold or a regular virus or bacteria because their immune system is so depleted by this virus. So just to give you guys an idea, this immune system thing is extremely, extremely important. And in addition to that, your body is always in survival mode. It will do whatever it needs to survive. And your immune system is imperative for you to survive, obviously, because all these bugs and bacteria and different things can kill you if your immune system doesn't defend you right. So top priority for your body is going to be the immune system. So once you have a virus, your immune system's job is to then continue to suppress that virus. It's kind of like once you get it, you always have it, but it's not always active because your immune system should be doing a good job in protecting you. The problem is that when we have multiple viruses, when we have multiple stresses, when we don't eat well, when we don't exercise and do all the things that improve our immune system and give our body what it needs to fight and be working optimally, this is when we can start to allow other problems to happen. This is when our storage on our nutrients runs low. This is when your body has to start dividing up its nutrients into different areas. And so your body has kind of like a budget. It says, all right, immune system needs this much, energy production needs this much, new cell production and healing needs this much. And the funny part about it is that all of these different processes, even brain chemicals, things that affect your focus and your memory and so on and so forth, also use the same gas or the same nutrients, basically. So when you have a chronic immune system problem, it's like imagine you turn your car, you turn the key or you push the button, you see the RPMs basically come up, and they go to like 1.5, right? When you step on the gas, it starts going up. And when you hold the gas down for a very long time, it starts to redline. And this is when you can blow an engine. But most importantly, you're burning through gas. You're just wasting fuel up at this point, the more revolutions per minute or RPMs that your engine is turning. And the same thing happens with your body. When you're at homeostasis, when you're alive and you're at homeostasis, you should be idling. You should be right around 1 RPM, 1.5 RPMs. But when you have all this immune function, it's kind of like you're always redlining. So you're burning up these nutrients. And if your body is not getting the nutrients it needs because your diet isn't in good shape, you're going to be having some problems. So 90% of my patients, when they come in, first thing we do is blood chemistry, and we look at what's happening with their immune system. Just looking at the white blood cells and what their kind of distribution gives us a good idea of a chronic infection, an acute infection, or no immune system issues at all. To this day, I have not seen a patient that has fatigue that does not have an immune system problem or an immune system, and I don't want to call it a malfunction, but let's say overfunction, because it is working properly. It's just working on too many things. And so one of the reasons, again, is because it's missing what it needs to really do the job. But B vitamins here are the main fuel for your immune system. They're also the main fuel for creating energy. So if you guys remember that whole Krebs cycle and all that stuff you had to memorize back in chemistry, those use B vitamins in order to go through those different processes. In order to make new cells, you need B vitamins, all right? In order to do everything in your body almost, you need B vitamins.
Dr. Ray, who remembers anything from chemistry class, man? Come on.
Somebody's got to remember something.
Hey, but no, I got a question for you, Dr. Ray, because I'm always listening, to talk radio and stuff here locally. What about these commercials for HGH and Androgel and all these things that it starts off here with? Are you always tired? All these things. What do you think about those?
Well, that's addressing the issue downstream, because one of the reasons why we end up getting fatigue also is because our hormones start to shift. And what ends up happening is, instead of being balanced and making androgenic hormones, okay, you said androgel, androgenic hormones are testosterone, estrogen, and these give us a good sense of well-being, and we feel good when we have these balanced. But one thing that happens is cholesterol is the key for all your hormones. And if you are in a stressful situation, like having an immune function issue, then your hormones also switch to stress mode, and you start to make more cortisol instead of estrogen and testosterone. So you start to block your ability to burn fat, to use and make energy. You start to really wear your adrenal glands out. You start to decrease your body's enzymes that break down adrenaline and all these different things. And basically, we end up just getting into this cycle where we get more tired and more tired and more tired. And there's also 40% of the population has a actually genetic mutation that's been identified in our DNA that basically helps to allow us to utilize B vitamins the right way. And for you guys out there listening that like this kind of stuff and you're into it, I encourage you to look up MTHFR. Again, that's MTHFR. And this is a gene that basically allows us to take B vitamins from our food and make it readily usable. Again, 40% of the population has this issue, and it's one of the things that I see that is always behind one of the contributing roles of people having these immune system problems, because they don't use B vitamins well, they don't make brain chemicals well, they don't make new cells well, they don't make energy well. And so when they do need to increase their immune system function and ramp up that B vitamin usage, all the other areas kind of get left behind in the dust, and then that's when we get tired, we can't concentrate, we have depression, we have anxiety, we have all these different things going on there. So B vitamins, again, are extremely important. I wouldn't just tell everybody out there right now, go ahead and get out there and just go buy some B vitamins, because depending on your DNA, B vitamins may actually make you feel better, they may make you feel worse. It's very hard to tell without doing the proper testing. So my suggestion would be go ahead and get tested. Your insurance covers the blood work. It's something that I think everybody should have done right now, because it's extremely important for anti-aging. It's extremely important for keeping inflammation down in the body. And inflammation is, without a doubt, the cause of all disease. Without a doubt, every disease can be traced back to inflammation. So helping reduce that is extremely important. But again, for you guys out there listening, just remember, being tired for more than 6 months, having memory issues, tender glands, muscle pain, joint pain, headaches, waking up and not feeling good, or being really tired after working out, these are all things that could mean that you have chronic fatigue syndrome. So if any of these symptoms sound like they hit home, any 4 of those, then please reach out, get some help. The only thing I can tell you is that your medical doctor may not have a good solution for you. You may have to go into the natural medicine field. If you're here in Miami, feel free to give me a call, email, text, tweet, whatever you want. Call the show, whatever it is that you need. I'm here for you guys. That's what this show is all about, to keep you guys educated and informed. So that being said, Manny, do you have any questions? Oh, we got a text, we got a tweet, we got a call. What do we got going on?
Actually, yeah, we already got somebody, Ryan Lavier at rlavier03. He wants to play in our fantasy football league, and I told him we will send him the link a little bit later. So make sure you do that, Dr. Ray. Send that out to our Twitter listener there. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you.
Excellent. Definitely, for sure. We'll get him in the league. We will get him going. So excellent. Anybody else out there wants to get in, go ahead and let us know. We're ready to rock and roll. And Manny, unless you have any questions about chronic fatigue or anything like that, we can go ahead and we can move on. I believe we had David on. We can go ahead and get to him. So for all you guys out there listening, get your Dolphins questions ready. Get your questions ready, whatever it is that you want to talk about sports Miami. Manny, I believe we'll be right back after a quick break, and we'll be talking with David DWORK from CBS Miami.
Frontier Spine and Healthcare brings you the cutting edge in healthcare with all the newest research and techniques in natural medicine. Although many people share the same symptoms, they all have them for different reasons. Using thorough physical examination and the newest technology in diagnostic testing, we can truly discover why you have the symptoms you do. Remember that good doctors know what you have, but great doctors know why. Call 786-353-HEAL or click www.353heal.com to schedule your appointment and experience the future of medicine today. Predictive, preventive, and personalized. Frontier Spine and Healthcare. Area code 786-353-HEAL or www.353heal.com.
All right, we are back in, and we are live here on the Hot Corner like we are each and every Wednesday night. And we actually want to go ahead and take the time right now to welcome in a special guest and a new friend of the show here, Mr. David DWORK from CBS Miami. David, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you.
Oh, man, it's great to have you here on the show. A local sports writer, man, give us all the breaking news. Tell us everything that's going on. No, I'm just kidding. But it's definitely great to have you here. Definitely great to have you here on the show with us. And as Manny mentioned earlier, we were taking a look at your blog, and we noticed that you had some fantasy football stuff up there. So we just wanted to get to know you a little bit here and see if any of our listeners had any questions for you, and just kind of go from there. But how long have you been with CBS Miami now, and what is it that got you there? Tell the people out there a little bit about you.
Well, I've been at CBS Miami for about just a year and a half now. Before that, I spent about seven years or so working in sports talk radio, producing, hosting, covering pretty much every job. I took my dab in it, and I did a lot of writing on the side, and just waiting for the next good opportunity to pop up. And luckily, I was able to get in with CBS Miami, and as I said, been there for about a year and a half, and I'm really happy there. It's a great place to work. A lot of fun.
Excellent.
And
that
that's
sounds
awesome.
great. And where is it that people can follow you and follow your work and check out all your writing and all that?
Well, the website is just cbsmiami.com, and you can click over to the sports page, and that's where all of our Dolphins content, all the local stuff, Heat, Marlins, Canes, Panthers. And I'm also on Twitter at David DWORK, DWORK, and Instagram as well. So you can find me anywhere.
All right, man. You're everywhere. A man that is everywhere. That's great to hear. So I noticed that you had I noticed that you also went to Crop Senior High. So you're a Miami boy. So you're from here, right?
Yes. Yeah, born and raised. I've spent almost my entire life here in South Florida. save for about
Awesome.
3 years that I was trying to play hockey as a career, but that's another story.
Oh wow!
All right, man. All
Dude,
right,
and David,
so
how
was
did you
this-
get involved? How did you get involved with hockey, being a Miami native?
Well, once the Panthers rolled around, and just fell in love with it. I've been playing ever since. I still play to this day. And I am a goalie, so, a little different there being the goaltender, but it's great. I love hockey. I wish it was bigger down here in South Florida, but I think that's going to be growing as the Panthers grow. I'm really excited about the Panthers this year too. But yeah, I love hockey. It's great.
Nice, man.
well,
Yeah, I love
it must
hockey
be
too.
nice.
When they, I'm sorry, Dr. Ray, but I love hockey too, man. And I loved it when the Panthers were down here with the Rats on the ice and everything down here at the old Pink Elephant, the Miami Arena, man. I remember those days, man. Those were beautiful days.
Yeah, the good old days. We need to recapture those days and get back to that. It'd be nice to pack the arena up in Sunrise and get everybody throwing rats again, like they were back when they made the playoffs in 2012. That it felt like, a revival of what we used to have, and I'd love to have that consistently down here.
Yeah, man.
Well, I tell you, that was awesome. I remember that. I played a bunch of roller hockey, back in the days, just because when I was younger, I tried to just play every sport underneath the sun. But that was around the time when the Panthers were doing really well, and I remember all that. But you know what I don't remember is the reason for the rats on the ice. David, can you? I know you know for sure. Why did we throw rats again? What was that all about?
Well, the season that they went to the finals, 95-96, right before one of their first home games of the year, the players were all in the locker room getting ready to go on the ice. And, like you said, the old Pink Elephant, the old Miami Arena, a live rat, started running across the Panthers locker room. And so one of the players, Scott Mellenby, who was like Mr. Panther back in the day, he ended up taking his hockey stick and just slap-shotting the rat across the locker room and killed it. Then he went out in that game with that same stick and scored 2 goals. So then after the game, John Van Beesbrook was being interviewed, and he called Mellenby what he did. He's like, he had 2 goals. He scored a rat trick. And it just caught on. People started throwing plastic rats on the ice.
Awesome,
Oh, man.
Classic.
That's a great story right there. I can't believe I forgot about that one, man. That's good. The rat trick. I really like that. But it would be good to get some hockey going. I've actually never been to a game. I've heard it's probably one of the most funnest things to do. Funnest is definitely not a word. One of the most fun things to do. And it would be good to get out of the heat down here too. When does the season start so I can go to a game already?
Hockey season's going to get going in early October. And, runs all the way, hopefully, until like June if the Panthers make it far enough. But, yeah, definitely get out to a game. It is amazing in person. Yeah. It's an awesome experience. Sounds like I got somebody agreeing with me over there.
Yeah, Dr. Ray, man, you have to go. And sorry to interrupt you, David, but Dr. Ray, I can't believe you've never been to a hockey game, brother. And you call yourself a sports fan, bro? I took my Venezuelan wife to a hockey game, and she was like, what am I doing? She had no idea. Man, by the end of the game, she loved hockey, man. And there's something about watching hockey live that it's not like anything else in sports, man.
It's great. I'll tell you what, if you have a hard time getting out to a Panther game this year, you let me know, and I'll get you some tickets. It's going to be a goal. We got to get you out to a Panther game this season.
There you go.
All right. That sounds like a goal I'd like to accomplish 100%. Definitely. I mean, I can't believe I've never been to a game myself. But here, listen, there's a lot of things that I haven't done that a lot of people do all the time. For example, I've only been on one cruise my whole entire life. I mean, I don't do a lot of things that people get to do. I'm always in my office. I'm always, behind the computer. I'm always researching and doing this and doing that. I got to get out more, man, huh? All right, so it's all set. We're going to have an ISPS night at a Panthers game this year. And we're going to make it happen. And we're going to start covering hockey here on the show as well too. Hopefully with the help of David, so somebody knows what they're talking about at least. And we'll be looking forward to having some fun with that. But David, I noticed that you had some fantasy football work that you've covered. Are you big into fantasy, or do you prefer just the NFL games all on their own?
Right now, I only really focus on NFL. You know, a few years back, I was doing every sport, but it really became like a chore, updating baseball lineups every day and checking fantasy basketball and hockey stuff So, you know, right now I just focus on fantasy football. And, you know, between my friends and I and even my wife, we get so into it that, you know, it's good enough to keep me satisfied year round.
Excellent. And how many leagues are you in?
This year, I think I'm just going to do 2 leagues. It's going to be the fewest amount I've done in a while. Like, I think 2 or 3 years ago, I did like 8 leagues because I just got like addicted to doing drafts. So it felt like every night I wanted to do a new draft, and I ended up in like 8 leagues. And last year I got 4, and this year I think I'm just going to stick with 2.
Oh, man. I wish I could do it. I don't know how, but it's like every year somebody tells me, oh, man, we need one more player, and I get in there, and then I like the league, and there's competition, and, man, I'm in 5 leagues right now. I've been in 5 leagues for the past, like, 5 years, I think. It's like a part-time job. I mean, and I'm always rooting against players that I'm rooting for, and it's just I need to simplify somehow. The problem is I don't know how to get rid of leagues that I'm already in. How did you do it, David? Who did you tell no, sorry, I can't come back this year?
I mean, really, whoever I needed to tell that was in that particular league. It was just when it came time to renew the next year, I was like, you know what, thanks, but, you know, I'm going to take this year off, or, you know, whatever excuse I needed to give them. But I mean, you know, what I hated so much about doing so many leagues, and what I'm sure you go through also, is just like in one situation you have like the 1 or 2 leagues that you're really, really focused on, whether that's like your big money league or just, you know, your big bragging rights league with your friends. And those are the players you want to root for. But then you got to go in your other leagues where you're rooting against those same players because they're playing against you that week. And it just becomes such a mishmash that like I just want to have like, you know, a couple dedicated lineups that I could just root for those players all year, and not have to worry about rooting 4 guys the same week that I'm rooting against them.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. That's the tough part. You know, it's like I got this guy, but then I'm playing him too in another league, and yeah, it becomes an issue. But actually, do you, you know, kind of changing subjects here a little bit, just because we're kind of running low on time here, and it's definitely something I wanted to talk about. What do you think, and what do you know about what happened inside of that Jets locker room? You know, we're all Dolphins fans, so I think this is a pretty good topic for us right now. But Geno Smith out 6 to 10 or 8 to 10 with the broken jaw?
6 to 10 was the last I saw after he had surgery on it.
Oh, man. So what was that all about? I mean, was he saying he's a Dolphins fan and one of the Jets players got mad, or what happened?
Apparently, the story that's being told is that sometime during the offseason, Geno Smith had agreed to be in, and forgive me, I can't pronounce the linebacker's name. He agreed to do like his charity football camp or something. But when the time came, a close friend of Geno Smith's passed away in a motorcycle accident, so he couldn't go on the trip. But the guy had paid for Geno's plane ticket in anticipation of him going out there, and he wanted Geno to pay him back the $600 that he spent on the plane ticket. And apparently Geno agreed to pay him back, but maybe he didn't do it as quickly as the linebacker was hoping, and they had a argument about it in the locker room, and Geno ended up getting his jaw broken.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, I've seen some pretty, maybe you've seen some of these too. I've seen some pretty funny jokes out there. You know, like Geno threw the first punch, but it got intercepted, and you know, all kinds of stuff like that. Have you heard any funny jokes or anything like that, or seen any of those memes that kind of stuck with you at all about this whole thing going on? I'm sure you guys get a lot of that over there at CBS, right?
Yeah, I've seen a few funny memes, but honestly, the one that you just said, I think that's the best one I've heard. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, when I read that, I couldn't help but just crack up for a little while. Definitely, you know, it was funny. Another one I heard something about he threw a punch, but it was, you know, 6 yards off or something like that, or I don't know, all kinds of stuff. But anyway, I don't know if this helps or hurts the Jets, but what's your opinion about the AFC East this year? What do you think is going to be going on? I mean, the Bills have no quarterback. Tom Brady suspended for 4 games. The Dolphins look like the team that's really putting it together right now with some of the offseason moves they made. What do you think's going on?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it certainly looks like the Dolphins have the most stable team. There's a lot going on, as you mentioned, with the Bills quarterback situation, obviously now the Jets quarterback situation. The Jets are going to be set with their defense. That's going to be their strong point, but their offense has been, non-existent. Last year they had Eric Decker, who was amazing in Denver. Now they add Brandon Marshall, and still nobody seems to think that there's anybody that can get them the ball. So, it's a similar situation in Buffalo. They have Sammy Watkins as a receiver. They brought in LaShawn McCoy from Philadelphia. So you wonder if, their offense is going to become a little bit more potent, but without a quarterback, it's hard for any offense to really do well. And as for the Patriots, they're going to be good, just like they always are. Even if Brady ends up, being suspended the first 4 games and everything holds up, they're still going to be the team to beat probably in the East. But I think the gap between them and Miami has closed significantly with all the moves that Miami made in the offseason and the strides that Ryan Tannehill has appeared to take, as he's looked so good in training camp and hitting the deep passes finally, becoming a leader on this team. So, it's going to come down to really the very end of the season. Miami's got 4 of their last 5 games at home, and their last 2 home games are against the Colts and the Patriots. And I honestly think the division could come down to those 2 games for Miami.
Yeah, definitely. Nope, sounds like we got a call, text, or tweet. Manny, who do we got?
Actually, Dr. Ray, it's one of our texters, Omar from Miami. He wants to ask David, how many preseason games would we have to play to decide if our current guards are good enough? I guess he's talking about the Dolphins from Miami.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Right now, I'm sure you guys are aware the guard situation is kind of up in the air. You've got, Billy Turner and Dallas Thomas right now as the probable starters with the rookie Jamel Douglas. He's been playing well, additionally. But I think, the main thing that a lot of people are wondering is if the guard situation doesn't seem to take care of itself with the players already on the roster, will the Dolphins go out and try to acquire free agent Evan Mathis, who's a Pro Bowl guard, and he's just sitting out there in the open market? So I'd probably say, to answer his question, the second or third preseason game when you've really seen the starters a decent amount of time, and especially the third preseason game, which, is essentially the tune-up game. So if by that time it's still an issue and there's still question marks hanging over it, and if nobody has signed him by then I think the Dolphins would go out and spend the $5 million for, over $5 million for 2 years, $5 million each for 2 years, which probably going to be what it takes to sign Mathis. But, we're just going to have to wait and see. And thankfully, season's here finally. Tomorrow we get our first preseason game, and we'll start to get some of the answers to those questions.
So, David, what's up, man? Are the Dolphins going to a Super Bowl, yes or no? That's my question, brother. I gotta make some bets in Las Vegas.
Are they going to go this year? Oh, man, as badly as I want to say yes, it's hard to say your team's going to go to the Super Bowl, especially – the Dolphins don't have much to hang their hat on from the last few years. Is it possible? Certainly. The Dolphins appear that they're going to have one of, if not the best defenses in the league, certainly with their defensive front. The offense took big strides last year, and they're only taking more this year, second season under the new coordinator, Bill Lazor. And as I mentioned, Tannehill's really taking steps forward. He's been surrounded with players that are there to fit his skill set. So it's certainly possible. I think the playoffs, yes. Whether or not they're going to, make a few wins and get pretty deep in the playoffs, it's really hard to say at this point.
Miami has the Dolphins, the greatest football team. We take the ball from goal to goal like no one's ever seen. We're in the air, we're on the ground, we're always in control. And when you say Miami, you're talking Super Bowl, 'cause we're the Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins number 1. Yes, we're the Miami Dolphins, Dolphins.
All right, so it sounds like we know what's going on. The Dolphins are going to the Super Bowl then.
We're going to the Super Bowl, Dr. Ray.
Well, oh man, that was great. That was good timing. But actually, we've got another question actually from Miguel, who's asking, will Albert be ready for Week 1?
He's asking about Dolphins left tackle Brandon Albert, who was lost for the year last season with a pretty severe knee injury. He's been progressing nicely so far during training camp. We weren't really sure what to expect heading in, but he's been participating in some of the team drills. He hasn't been a full practice participant yet, but during Tuesday's practice, he was there seen in full equipment. I was watching him pretty closely, and while it still seems like he labors a little bit while he's walking around, when he's actually out there playing the game, he looks pretty good. I mean, for a guy that's coming off such a serious knee injury, he looks like he's progressing nicely. And, it was actually like a possibility when we were talking to him after practice, like, do you think he might actually get into a preseason game? And he didn't discount it. It's certainly not that far-fetched. So do I think he'll be ready for week one? Absolutely. As long as there's no setbacks, I think he'll definitely be out there.
Wow, that's awesome. That's great news, because I think that's a really, really big deal right there, having your left tackle solidified on that line. I know that means the world to Tannehill, I'm sure, protecting his blind side and everything there. So that's good news. I think it sounds like, and, I think a lot of it too is mental. And so the fact that when he answers a question like that and doesn't say, there's no chance of getting into a game, that's I think good news for how he's taken that injury mentally. Kind of like Derrick Rose, when he came back from that knee injury, and apparently he was cleared for a bunch of time before he even got into a game. But, just mentally he needed that time to come back. So hopefully we'll have him ready to go week one. David, we want to thank you for coming on the show here tonight. We'd also like to invite you to possibly come back for future shows. I mean, if you've got the time, we've got the time. And I know we've got plenty of Dolphins out there that would like to hear it straight from the source. So we definitely appreciate it. But go ahead and let everybody know again where it is that they can follow you and where they can find you.
Before we say bye to David, we got some hating going on Twitter, man. Ryan over there from Detroit, he's I guess he's a little upset that we took Sue. David, what do you think about Sue, man? That he's going to be phenomenal for our defense, man.
Oh, yeah, Sue is a game changer. I mean, there's a reason that he was the most sought-after defensive player in free agency, and there's a reason right now he's the highest-paid defensive player in NFL history. I mean, he is amazing. And, obviously him being in Detroit, you never really got a chance to watch him up close as you do when you're sitting there, watching the team during training camp. And let me tell you guys, this guy is impressive. I mean, for such a big guy, he moves extremely well. He's got great body control. He's quick. He's got great hands. He's constantly getting into the Dolphins' backfield. I'm excited to see what this guy can do in a Dolphins uniform, especially for the next 6 years.
Now, do you think he's going to behave in South Beach?
Yeah, his problems have never been off the field. He's always kind of lost his temper once in a while on the field. But I mean, he seems such a focused guy. When talking to him after practices, he just talks about working hard, working on all the little things that he wants to work on. The Dolphins' new defensive line coach was even saying that every day they give Sue something different to work on, and he always just wants to get better. He's a guy that wants to be coached. So I think this is a guy who's got the right mindset. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw Hard Knocks last night, but the way that J.J. Watt works his tail off the field, we got something similar in Ndamukong Suh down here. And
nice.
It's just exciting. It really is. He's going to transform our defense.
We're going to the Super Bowl, David. I don't know about you, but we're going to the Super Bowl, baby. Woo!
All right, you heard it here first, everybody.
That would make me a very happy man. I've been waiting. I want one Super Bowl in my lifetime. So right now, 32 years later, I'm still waiting. But, I got my fingers crossed. Maybe this is the year.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, listen, we're definitely moving in the right direction. Like everybody's saying, I've been watching Tannehill getting better. I've always said, the guy just changed from wide receiver, for God's sakes. You got to give him some time to grow into the position. And as you mentioned, you see it right there every day. Growing into a leader, that's really what it's all about. And, I think that that deep ball, too, the fact that you mentioned that he's getting that deep ball going, man, I think that's really the one part of the game that he just didn't have. But if that's there, man, look out. I think we got some moves to make now. We got some exciting receivers. Lamar Miller, I think he had the most yards per carry last year, the best yards per carry average in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, it should be great. I'm looking forward to the season. And David, any last comments or anything that you wanted to get out there? And also, please let everybody know where it is that they can find you again. And follow you and everything like that as well, too, for the most up-to-date news with the Dolphins?
On Twitter, it's just my name, @DWORK. And again, everything that I do goes on CBSMiami.com. Just click on the sports page. We cover all the South Florida sports. I've got a blog on there, the DWORK on Sports blog, that I update every week. So lots of great local content there on CBSMiami.com. So I appreciate you guys having me on, really.
Oh, man, thank you. Man. Thank you.
It's been our pleasure, David. So thanks a lot, Manny. Thanks for getting everything ready here for the show. Want to thank everybody out there for listening. If you tweeted us about the Fantasy Football League, don't worry. We'll get you your email out soon. We'll get everybody signed up for that. We'll have another update next week. And next week, we're actually going to have another really, really, really good guest on. We're going to have Rick Paula from SB Nation. And he's going to be talking about, he actually just wrote an article called The Bat Doctors. The softball bats that are dangerous and the men who make them. So we're going to be talking about that next week as well, too, as well as getting into fantasy baseball, fantasy football, and our health topics. So, again, want to thank everybody out there for listening. And until next week, guys, be well. Everybody have a great one.
You've just heard the Hot Corner Show on the ISPS Radio Podcast Network with the softball-playing chiropractor and official chiropractor of ISPS, Dr. Ray Tolmos, and Commissioner of International Slow Pitch Softball, Manuel T. Ferrero III. Remember to follow the show and hosts on Twitter and Facebook @ISPSO, @DRRAYT. We hope you enjoyed the show and invite you to listen in to Dr. Ray and Manuel T. Ferrero III each and every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the International Slow Pitch Softball Radio Podcast channel at ISPSradio.com.